Hey guys, Megaton Menace here, back with another video. So, I am once again joined by my friend, Asir,
Hey guys.
and we're going to be watching and reacting to the penultimate episode of this volume of RWBY, Volume 7, Chapter 12, which is called With Friends Like These. So, obviously, Team RWBY's going to fight the Aesops, and I think that there will also be progression when it comes to the whole Cinder, Winter Maiden thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how far it will progress. And, of course, there's going to be an obnoxious cliffhanger to lead into the finale. And I feel like that cliffhanger will be either Maiden-related or Salem showing up related. But there's a lot of things that it
Or
could
both.
be.
Yeah, it could
Yeah.
very easily be both.
And, of course, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, if anything, with Clover, Crow, Tyrion, and Hill on that transport.
Good point.
And it's also going to be interesting to see if Ironwood makes Penny fight any of her friends.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that at all. And where Penny's allegiance is ultimately going to be.
Right, because last time we saw her, she was returning to Atlas because Ironwood recalled all the troops from Mantle.
Not to mention, I'm sorry, I'm spacing his name, but Oscar's missing. Like,
Yes.
there's also that
Yes.
whole thing that we can expect to be developed with Team Juniper going after him. And then, yeah.
And of course, it's hard to, with the way things are right now, it's hard to imagine how, but I do still think that Team Funky was set up earlier in the volume for a reason, and that the concept of them coming back in some capacity in either this episode or the next seems very probable as well.
I hope so. It'd be cool to see them, especially since we're in their region. It's the best opportunity.
Yep.
Any other thoughts before we dive in?
No.
All right, let's do it then.
Yep. When we get to the end of the seasons, it's always exciting and nervous. Because you know that if some bad shit's going to go down, that's always when it is.
Yep. So, starting the episode right
Yeah.
here. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cannot let him do this.
Miss Hill, I'm sure the General understands the enormity of this.
So,
Oh. Oof.
oof. That's...
Crow is on it, yeah. He's going to arrest him. Or try to.
Crow, you should know
Ruby,
that I've been asked to
Jennifer,
bring you
Oscar,
in.
and Crow.
Free ride and a show.
There's also an
yeah.
alert out for Team RWBY's arrest.
This infighting is
James
exactly
lost
what
his
they've
mind?
planned.
He's trying to stop anybody who might get in the way of this inhumane plan.
Yeah.
Looks
Oh
like
boy.
he underestimated me. Again.
Only Crow is under arrest. After everything we've been through tonight, please don't make me arrest you too.
Yikes.
Cut it out, both of you.
Yeah.
We're almost back. to
Thank
Atlas.
you.
He's like, I'm going to try my best to be
James
rational.
personally.
It's taken a very long time for this show to get to the good
Yeah.
part.
Shut up.
He's right.
Somebody should
Let's get this
mute
over
him.
with.
No.
Robin,
The fact that he wants it means that you shouldn't do it.
Accurate.
Props to Crow for being the biggest man in the room, though.
doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Once we've taken him down.
Because there was a point where Crow would have been the first one to draw his blade.
And of course, you've set Tyrion free. This is the stupidest. This is the
Yeah.
stupidest thing that could have possibly happened, and everyone should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, he's fine with going down, man.
Yeah.
He probably knows. He's like,
It was
fuck
probably
this
part of the
place.
plan.
Oh
What
man.
did you do? The general is leaving Mantle to perish?
Yeah.
He's saving Remnant. We can't let the relics fall to Salem.
She doesn't
But
like
all
it.
those people we just protected, they won't survive.
We don't have time to.
That doesn't bother you? What about your sister? Our friends?
My personal feelings don't matter.
Yes, they do, Winter.
We have orders. I'm to retrieve the power of the Winter Maiden so we can access the relic. You're here to ensure my safety. Oh, come on. We've already lost enough time.
It should matter.
It does.
It does matter, but you are also creating a window for fucking Cinder
General is
right
making
now.
hard
That's
choices
true.
so we don't have to.
So it's like it does matter, but all this, where's Cinder? Looking for you.
About
And what's
any
at the
of
end
this.
of this tunnel? That's where Cinder
On
is.
that we can agree.
That being said,
Please, think about what you're
Penny
doing.
and Winter
You
versus
heard the
Cinder.
general. Until this is sorted out, you're under
Yeah.
arrest.
Yeah, it's Ironwood's office. It
Really?
makes sense. It has a
Please,
security protocol
don't
like
make
that.
this difficult.
Don't make us have to get out of here by force.
Good luck. They shouldn't be able to beat the Aesop's even without
We're
Clover.
not actually going to slug this out, are we?
We're not doing anything. They decide what happens next.
Stay. Fight Clover.
You think you're going to stop us? We're the best huntsmen in Atlas.
You were. Then you trained
If
us.
Team RWBY wins this, I'm gonna call Hex. How'd you get out the door?
We're
I
playing
missed
right
that. I
into
thought the door
Salem's
was closed
hands.
and locked.
You know we need to be working together.
That's true.
Oh, don't give me that crap. I had you kids pegged
I guess
right
we're supposed
from
to assume she somehow plowed through it. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But I mean, Ruby's right. They're playing. This is everything that they want. Them infighting like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is best case scenario.
The villains.
So, great
If you come
job.
peacefully, we won't hurt you.
Speak for yourself. They betrayed us.
You're betraying the people you've sworn to protect. It's not worth it,
Yikes.
Blake. They're just following orders now.
Yeah.
It's crazy how high the stakes are because like
Yeah.
you are fighting an unwinnable fight, meaning that Ironwood's not making a horrible play, but you have the humanitarian argument, and it's just those two things fighting. It ends right now, but these are both. Everybody wants the best for all the people. They just
Have a disagreement about what that is.
this is what an unwinnable fight brings out is
Exactly.
the worst in people, you know.
Yep.
I don't know. This is rough.
Robin
Yeah.
needs help. Surrender, and we can take her to Atlas.
God
Get her
damn
patched
it.
up.
Never pegged you for the manipulative type.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of
seriously.
things tonight.
I enjoyed working with you, you know? Even with that endless cynicism of yours.
I don't like the way they're framing this to where it's like now there are three factions, man.
Yeah.
You don't know my friends.
God, I hope they get
That's how
this
it
shit
always
worked
goes.
out.
Yeah. They better. I feel like that. There's no way they'll fight each other once Salem is literally at the doorstep, though.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, but why the fuck are they letting them do it now? Like, look, Tyrion's gonna break free
know.
any second now. Ha
Yeah,
ha
I know.
ha.
Everybody's being retarded.
It's hard to watch. How'd he do it? Oh, he broke his.
Or maybe he dislocated it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dislocated.
Savage, though. Here we go. Oh, man. They played right into this Salem strategy from the
Yeah.
get. Like, they.
Don't stop on my
What
account.
fools.
Wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
Clover. God damn it! Fuck you, Clover.
Yeah.
The thing is, Crow really hasn't done anything wrong. It's
The
it's
fact
killing Clover.
The
It's
fact
killing Clover.
right now they should all be focused on Tyrion.
I know.
And like the fact that he grabbed Crow instead of Tyrion was just really
And
stupid.
the simple truth, it's not on the characters. It's Rooster Teeth is they're dropping some shit writing on us for the sake of drama.
I kind of see where you're coming from because in many. Okay, Crow and Tyrion teaming up against Clover just cause that doesn't make sense with the characters and how they are. Yeah, there is some merit to what you're saying, because it's like, I don't...
Crap, will you?
I'm trying to arrest her, not kill her, Hair. You're being excessive.
Yeah.
Not excessive if it's necessary.
I don't know. I understand your frustration. It's one of those deals where we didn't want to hate the Aesops, and they're just giving us so many reasons to hate the Aesops.
Yeah.
And we, you know, and it's, and the same goes for Ironwood. But again, it plays back into this, like, there's not much reason for them to be fighting right now.
Exactly.
And really, like, if they want to save the people of Mantle and you want to go take off to be safe from Salem, why don't y'all just let each other on your way, which is what the characters probably would have done.
Exactly. Like,
but they wanted to stage a fight.
Like, let Team RWBY fight Salem and let the Aesops evacuate Mantle.
Yeah.
Or Atlas, I mean.
Never really had a problem
Well,
with you.
here comes Team RWBY beating the Aesops.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Well.
I feel like Rice being able to take out Meryl because, you know, he doesn't want to fight. He's not even using the skull. That is mostly crazy. But the other one, okay. Oh, I guess that makes sense. But that'll free Rice, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You knew they were going to win from the point RWBY was like, "You're the best team until you trade us."
Yeah, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, there's some merit to what you're saying. I don't know. My biggest thing is that I feel like they really want to have all these cool characters spar off for the sake of what it looks like, but they're all acting out of character, and that's what makes it so frustrating.
Yeah.
But I guess who are we to say that?
But I feel like that what's going on with Proterian and Clover is way worse than what's going on with Team RWBY and the Aesops.
I hear you. Yes, because Tyrion is dangerous.
Like,
Tyrion
so. is the only one of them that's actually a bad guy.
Yeah, legit.
Okay.
We have to stop Ironwood. If he can't access the relic, he can't move Atlas.
We just have to get to the Winter Maiden. Blake and I will look for the others.
Wait.
But our scrolls don't.
I get wanting to protect Mantle, but you want to stop Ironwood from saving Atlas? Huh?
This is the part where they ask us to help.
Well, that kind of... Yeah, and meanwhile, Oscar's missing. It's like, nobody cares about anything relevant. Oh, well.
What?
No, it's not.
It's Neo.
Yeah.
This crazy girl showed up and attacked me.
They know her.
She looks like someone else.
Neapolitan.
You know her?
Yeah.
I haven't exactly heard good things.
Yeah, I guess technically only Ruby's ever met her. Oh, Ruby and Yang have met her.
I hope it will be painless for her.
You said your personal feelings do not matter.
Oof.
They won't change my actions.
Wait.
What I'm committed
Why
to.
use the aura transfer
The power
machine?
of the Winter Maiden and the relic must be kept from our enemies.
Success.
Yeah, but if you're looking in
Even
your
if it
eyes
means
and you
she
stab her
dies.
through the heart, it'll transfer to you. Yes, that's cold, but it would transfer to you.
Yes, Penny. We must still acknowledge our personal
You
feelings.
know,
Wrestle
if
with them.
maybe just because they
ensures us that we're
didn't
on
want
the
to be
right
so savage, they wanted to be a little. They wanted to leave the
makes us human.
humanity. This is a hard subject matter to cover, and so leaving the humanity in it
Yeah, but
is pretty
oh
big.
boy, they fucked around too long.
Of course they did, and that's the most obnoxious part about this entire episode. It's like,
Yep.
it's like all of the heroes that we've loved for so long have now set the stage for themselves to fail because of infighting, because of, you know, trivial disagreements.
Both of Ironwood's puppets. Lucky me.
Cinder.
You were responsible
Yeah.
for Beacon. For what happened to me.
Yeah.
It was, unfortunately, temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
Now step aside or there won't be anything left to salvage this time. What do you think of that?
I think chop her head off.
Well, that's what it seems like Penny agrees.
Oh boy, that looks like she was on to fire the fucking mega laser.
Oh, man. See, this is retarded. Why in the world would Crow team up with Tyrion to fight Clover? That does not make sense, bro. It does not make sense.
Okay.
This is so stupid.
Yeah.
They should both know who the danger is. This is so stupid. One of them was recently just mass murdering people to get you guys to infight.
Exactly.
And now, a few episodes later, you're allowing him to help you infight.
Sometimes the right decision is the hardest to make.
Exactly.
I trust James with my life.
Exactly.
I wanted to trust you.
Ooh.
Eesh.
Tyrion. God damn it, Clover. You fucking retard.
And that's what you fucking get. You set the stage. You started infighting. It was totally unnecessary.
They could have avoided this.
All they had to do was, like, especially in that helicopter, just get back out.
I'm sorry, guys, but...
Oh, you mean like you just killed Clover?
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry, guys, but this is the worst episode of the season, and it is up there for the series.
I don't know if like, it's hard to watch, but that I feel like I need to sit on it before I can say that. But it is hard to watch, and some...
No, like, the writing for the Crow, Clover, Tyrion part is terrible, and I know my opinion's not going to change on that.
Fair enough.
Like, none of this should have happened.
That I agree. Like, yeah.
We'll take the fall. I'll make sure of it.
Because at the end of the day, Clover died and Tyrion escaped for no fucking reason.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, that's absolutely true. And we don't even know where the fuck Robin is in all of this.
Yeah. Like, the last time we saw her,
She was, like,
she
knocked
got
out.
knocked
Yeah.
out of the crash.
I know, I saw that. But it's just like...
Also, that is totally what the gay baiting article you saw was about. Because everybody thought that Crow and Clover were going to be, like, a couple.
Yeah, that was the only, like, kind of spoiler that I had going into it. Was just an article saying something about queer baiting. I avoided reading it entirely, but... That was a definitely hard episode to watch. And I don't know. The thing that's frustrating me about it is that it was moving at such a good pace, and everything was kind of like not happening as I wanted it to, but like happening as I expected it. That's even a bad way to phrase it. It was pacing itself right. This episode felt like nothing got accomplished, and we made reverse progress, and it's hard to understand. Sorry, it's still fine. Recording. Yeah, exactly. It was risky. It's hard to understand entirely why they chose to take it in that direction.
Okay, so
we got a lot to break down.
So Penny and Winter, it's the type of thing where it's frustrating to see them having idle chit-chat when we know that Cinder is coming, but it's also true that they didn't know that Cinder and Neo were present. Therefore, even though it's frustrating as a viewer, that's not bad writing, and it's not fair for us to be mad at the characters for that. And in addition to that, I also feel like that having Team RWBY and the Aesops have a skirmish because they disagree about what the best approach for the future is also fine. However, the fact that Tyrion escapes his prison and then Crow and Tyrion work together to kill Clover, Instead of them being like, priority one is stopping Tyrion, then we'll deal with whatever these orders are. That is retarded and out of character and what pisses me off and what ruins the episode for me.
Well, okay. Here's what I'm trying to think of is like, let's break down the three. So there are three main disagreements that happen throughout the course of this episode.
Correct.
So there is the disagreement that's minor between Penny and Winter on their way to the Maiden. Let's cover that first because I think that it's the most it'll be the fastest to cover. And my point to cover on that is that there was no reason for them to stop and create the scenario for the intrusion. They knew they were on high alert. They should have just gone there and done the thing. And they created the window for the plan to fail. And so it's always frustrating when you see stuff like that.
But it's also true that they didn't know Cinder was coming, and unlike with Tyrion, they both turned their attention to Cinder as soon as they realized that she was fucking there.
Correct. So that was handled right. But I guess ultimately, here's what I'm getting at. There's a core disagreement that is in Penny and Winter's fight that is also in RWBY and the Aesop's fight.
This is true.
And that core disagreement is, are you going to leave Mantle abandoned? And the Aesops say yes because they're with Ironwood, who's on his absolute destitute last end-all plan, right? So here's what I don't understand, though, is why the RWBY perspective, so the perspective of our heroes, I don't understand why it has to be in opposition to Ironwood, because now it seems that they are framing it as like, our job is to stop what Ironwood is doing, but Ironwood is just turtle shelling. He's turtling up.
Exactly.
He's making a defensive play. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, if Team RWBY's focus is on saving the people of Mantle, then they need a plan to start saving the people of Mantle, and the Aesops helping Ironwood.
Yeah.
These are two things that don't need to be at ends with one another, but they are.
Because ultimately, like, Team RWBY wants to help Mantle. The Aesops want to help Ironwood bring Atlas into orbit.
And rather having either of these goals accomplished, they're fighting each other.
Right, but it seems like that what happened is that instead, it should be like, well, how about Team RWBY does everything they can to help Mantle rather than being under arrest, and Ironwood and the Aesops do everything that they can to get Atlas to fly.
Yeah.
Like, it does feel like that it's artificial drama because they wanted the heroes to fight each other.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like the gut reaction, the guttural response, and whether or not, like,
oh man,
it's sincere. You can say that at least, like, it's a sincere response to watching that, because I just feel like they were fighting each other for no reason, when really, if the Aesops have spent their entire life guarding the people of Mantle, and they truly cared about the people of Mantle and people of Atlas, they should have just been like, yo, on your way, do everything you can for those people while you can. We have our orders. And the two things didn't need to be at ends with one another.
Exactly.
Is ultimately what I'm getting at. Like, they did not need to be butting heads when they both could have gone with their own objectives and not been at ends with another. I can't think of a better phrase for that, but it's like they didn't have to be fighting. And in terms of the Crow, Clover, Tyrion, and Robin, that's the most... I hear what you're saying with the writing. It's so disappointing and frustrating because they know that Watts and they know that Tyrion were implanted to create tension and infighting to make sure that Robin did not align herself with Ironwood.
But they let it happen anyway.
And they let it happen in the dumbest context.
Yeah.
Because they let it happen after all the cards were on the table and the trust was established after several episodes of that not being the case.
Yeah.
And so it's like the way that they did it, it doesn't sit right with you. But ultimately, sometimes media is supposed to subvert expectations.
Yeah, but there's a right and a wrong way to do that.
Yeah, well, I hear what you're saying, and I certainly cannot understand why you would let a literal murderer who you just captured. You just worked together, the three of you, to capture a literal murderer.
Exactly.
And then start trading
it's
blows.
Like, it's like, guys, like 6 episodes ago, this man was literally murdering random civilians at a pep rally to frame Penny. And now you'd rather fight each other than put a stop to him? Fuck.
Yeah, and especially...
And it was literally just because, like, at that exact moment, Clover's order was to arrest Crow. But, like, arresting Tyrion was also an order. It just had been resolved, and it's so stupid.
It really is. And I think what added insult to injury and makes that scene really hurt is the fact that they could have had a 3-way fight where Clover and Crow are not working together but both fighting Tyrion. They could have framed that fight from a dynamic that could have made sense.
Exactly.
But there is absolutely no reason why Clover would fire and hook Crow with Tyrion standing behind him when Tyrion is a fucking mass murderer.
Exactly.
And Crow was like your close friend an episode ago.
Because, like, if they had treated the fight as either a 3-man free-for-all or shit, Tyrion's free, Crow and Clover work together to stop his ass, and then they fight each other, either of those would have been way better and would have still have created the same drama that they wanted.
And I think a lot of people would argue that this was a three-way fight, right? That a free-for-all. But what they needed to have done to make the free-for-all feel right is that any time I'm going to frame this in a video game. Every time there was precedence to either go for Tyrion or Crow, Tyrion or Clover, if they gave Tyrion precedence in every one of those scenes, that free-for-all would have felt right.
Exactly.
Because it would have felt like, yeah, we're fighting, but like he's 2 stocks up.
Yeah.
Like that's all they had to do. Like
and also making it so that, like, whoever's closer is who they attack. So, like...
Well, but that's what they did in the scene where, like, Crow was closer, Clover hooked Crow, but Tyrion standing directly behind him. Crow was closer. But to me, that still doesn't make sense.
Right, like, with that, I feel like it's like, Tyrion's behind you, go for Tyrion.
Yeah. No, here, like, let me frame it like this. So, here's Clover, Crow, and then Tyrion, right? And Clover hooks Crow, who's standing in between the two of them. It's like, but that doesn't make sense because Crow, Tyrion gets precedence.
And of course, another thing is that I feel like that Crow was the one who wanted the fight the least, and he very much so was. It seemed was primarily like trying to go for self-defense. Like, I feel like, let me put it this way: if Clover turned his back to Crow and attacked Tyrion, Crow attacking Clover in the back is something that I don't think he would have done. And if he had, it would have been out of character and would not have...
Yeah, we almost have to, like, go dissect that fight.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those deals where it's like, when we were watching it, I know there were certain things that just didn't sit right. And I feel like it was because it was like, they were attacking each other over Tyrion when we're being redundant.
Exactly.
But I'm sure if you were to break down that fight, there are several examples of what we're talking about where it's like, why? Though?
It's hard because we know the fight didn't feel right, but because we've only seen it once, it was going by fast, and it was cutting between that fight and another fight. Right now, it's hard to exactly place exactly what the specific details were of how and why it was wrong.
Yeah, I think overall the entire episode was just really hard to watch. So there's also that. So it's like it's possible that it's not as awful. Like stories are supposed to have downtrodden notes,
This
right?
is true.
And so like it's possible that it just doesn't sit right because it's that.
You know what's also the case though? It's like in the moment when I was watching it, I very much so felt like this is all awful. However, it's been about 10 minutes since we finished the episode, so I've had some time to cool down and think about it, and right now, the the crow fight is the only part of the episode that I actually have a problem with.
I don't know. My thing is I kind of have a problem with the whole thing, because it's one of those deals where it's like there's a lot of arguing about. I don't know how to explain it very well because I'm trying to gather the thoughts on the spot, but it's like they are arguing about whether you do the altruistic thing that will fail or the successful thing that is maybe less humane. And that is a very philosophical debate, but you don't sit there and argue that while there are literal villains trying to prove you wrong.
And it's like... It's weird, though, because, like, the root of the problem is multifaceted, though, because really all of this happened because Ironwood gave the stupid-ass order to arrest them, but it also happened because none of the Aesops were like, I'm going to enact... there's I don't remember exactly what it's called, how it's worded, but in real life, there is, like, a rule in the military that's like, if a soldier's given, like, a stupid-ass unjust law order, you don't have to follow it. But they were literally on some, like, Hail Hitler, we must do what our fear commands bullshit.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a lot of why the episode just felt weird, is because it's like they built these characters and these relationships, and then they just, like, instantly pretended like none of what they had established all season was relevant. Because but I guess I don't know, maybe it's like the way we're supposed to see this, that it's all kind of Team RWBY's fault, because if Ironwood had said we got to take off, we got to go for our Hail Mary last resort ditch effort play, and Team RWBY was like, that's shitty, we're not going to help you, but we are going to help the people of Mantle, then none of this would have happened. But instead they were like, you're wrong, we're going to stop you and forget all about Salem. And it's like big oof, because you really just should have let Ironwood go turtle up and keep the relic safe, and then did what you could to save the people, which might have been a losing fight, but kudos for you for doing the altruistic thing. Like, that's how this all should have gone, instead of seeing good people fight good people.
Yep.
I don't know.
So, it's weird, though. It's very interesting, because, like, next week, with the finale, like, I don't know what to expect, because the simple truth is this. I feel like that Winter and Penny fighting Cinder, and John, Nora, Ren, and Oscar fighting Neo could easily fill, like, 20 minutes of content. But I also feel like that Salem is gonna have to show up in the finale, because they said she was almost there, and I also feel like that I don't think that, like, her arriving at Atlas will be the cliffhanger ending at the end of the volume, because I don't think that they would want us starting volume 8 with the battle for Atlas doesn't really make sense when it comes to, like, the overall seasonal structure of a show.
Well, not unless they're gonna, like, really flip it up on us. And
yeah.
They're gonna, like, make a combat oriented, like, this is an entire war.
Yeah,
this next season's gonna be a war.
Exactly. Like, they could be like, all of Volume 8 is the war for Atlas, and it's gonna be ridiculous. However, you know what's also possible? Like, it's also totally possible that maybe next week's episode is gonna be like a 52-minute finale, and the first 15 will be this shit, and then the next half an hour will be Salem, and then there will be 10 minutes of credits. I mean, that's possible.
I think all I can really say about next week's episode, and in an optimistic light, is that I hope Salem showing up will actually make all of our characters that we care about remember their brains. Like, just remember their brains are in their head, and that they don't have to be fighting each other, because they're actual enemies.
Like,
actual enemies.
I'm very much so, like, agreed. Like, hopefully Salem's arrival gets people to stop being stupid, And hopefully the Winter Maiden's power ends up in Winter or Penny and not in Cinder.
Yeah, that I'm really worried about, because if it is going to end up in somebody else's hands, I think you and I are having a conversation. I think you called it. They're going to be fighting, and they're going to be like duking it out, and then like she's going to go to kill the Winter Maiden. It's going to be like, oh, the Winter Maiden's been dead for 5 minutes, and then Winter's going to be like,
That would be cool, but the thing that's like when Cinder bursted into the right before Cinder showed up, we saw that the Winter Maiden was still alive.
I know, but what I'm saying is that they're gonna, like, you called this a while back. We were talking like they're gonna be fighting, and in the middle of the fight, while they're distracted with fighting, the Winter Maiden is going to pass away, and the power is going to pass to Winter mid-fight. You were talking about that, I swear, last week, and I think that you called it based off of how that went in.
So you think that's going to happen next episode?
Absolutely. I don't think Cinder's going to kill the Winter Maiden. I think that they're going to be occupied fighting Cinder long enough for the Winter Maiden to die of natural causes, which also makes sense because if you like the way the writers write their show, and like especially with this season, they don't like the hard decisions that are inhumane or less humane. Like, and so I could see what you're talking about, because it's a really easy way for them to write out having to murder an old person. And based off of the way that like
don't murder Granny.
This entire episode was framed based really like the entire episode is Penny and Winter's argument in the hall. You could just watch that little clip and it sums up the entire sentiment of this episode, is that it should matter trying to save all those people. Meanwhile, we're just like, yeah, but it's a losing fight. It's a losing fight. We have to do what we can to survive, but it should matter that we do all we can for those who have no chance.
Speaking of the Winter Maiden thing, though, there is one other thing that at this point seems very possible, and that is that right now they are painting Ruby, Juniper, Penny, and Crow as the good guys, and everyone else as the bad guys. And in addition to that, Winter at some point being the Winter Maiden is something that people have been predicting ever since the concept of maidens was introduced, which makes me think that maybe it's a red herring. All that I'm saying is, with this setup, it's very possible that Penny could get the power instead of Winter. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it that way, and the red herring is like, it's a perfect term for it, because it is almost too obvious that Winter would get the Winter Maiden powers. And
exactly,
this episode as a whole did try and do that whole subverting expectations thing. So
and they did get twisty with the Spring Maiden, because they made us think it was Vernal, but nope, it was actually Raven the whole time. What a twist. Alrighty.
Yeah, man, a lot to say. I think that in recapping this episode, it'll be easier to break down what was quintessentially wrong with it. But there was I definitely have to agree that there was a guttural response that it felt wrong. And I definitely do think it's worth the rewatch just to try and really put my finger on what it was that did that.
And I always rewatch before I do my reviews.
But
yeah,
ups and downs of a story. We'll have to see how it plays out, because that's another thing, is that everything we watched in this is dependent on what we see next.
That's true, but it's also true that
it was hard to watch.
And they can't unmurder Clover.
They can't unmurder Clover. I wasn't that attached to that character, but
it's
I get it.
It's it's
not about Clover. It's about the fact that they let Tyrion manipulate them.
Yeah.
They like, and that's really like, there's no other way to describe this episode other than our heroes, right? Our protagonists were manipulated by the villains into infighting.
Exactly. And also, like, and also like when it comes to
That sucks.
what I'm trying to get out is this: Crow's weapon is the weapon that killed Clover, and because of that, no matter what, things between Crow and the Aesop / Ironwood are not gonna be clean. Because he won't be able to prove that he didn't kill Clover.
Man. So that's what makes this so hard to watch, is because they never should have been in that fight.
Exactly.
And so it's like,
the
yeah,
type of
looking
thing
at the
where,
consequences of that fight hurt because they never
fight-
should have been in it.
Exactly. Like, a fight that shouldn't have happened is going to have long-term ramifications on the plot of the series.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so frustrating. That's why I hate it.
I don't know if you want to go bringing up another show. How do you feel about that?
What show?
The 100.
Sure.
Do you remember how there were several instances? I just think of one example. I can't even remember. Finn. They could have saved Finn's life if they didn't stop to make camp to talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
And like it's like that to me, where it's like, if our characters made better decisions, we wouldn't be watching this. And that hurts because like,
especially considering that like a lot of the better decisions are ones that are obvious, and not just because we have viewer knowledge, but even like, if I was in that exact situation, I wouldn't do that dumb shit.
Yeah, especially, and that's what makes the Tyrion fight so hard to look past, is because like, he's the danger.
And you know what?
You just spent how many episodes establishing that he was the danger and getting him caught.
And like, honestly, and like personally, if I was in Crow's position when Clover said you're under arrest, I would have just been like, okay. Because I would know that would result in me getting taken to Atlas, which is where Ironwood, who is the person I want to talk to, is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't want to go to jail, but he's going to take me where I'm going.
Yeah, he's going to take me where I want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's true. And Robin wasn't even on the list. So literally,
yeah.
But she did instigate it like more than Crow did. He kind of knew that until the plane was going down. But again, it's like, the second that you have Tyrion loose, what the fuck is wrong with the four of you? It does not make sense, because Tyrion is the danger. We just spent how many episodes establishing he is the danger, and then you're going to throw it all away in one episode to infight with each other. It's like, you spent how many episodes laying the trap? Okay, like, what episode did he reveal it? What was the election party?
The election party?
I know you've got this.
Shit. I think it was 3 or 4. 3 or 4
episodes ago.
No, like episode 3 or 4 of the season.
Really? That long?
Yeah.
That long Tyrion's been a known player.
Yeah.
And
we could just like, I know, we can go to the episode list and I'll know.
We're just gonna go back one.
Yeah. That's okay. Episode 6. It was episode 6.
Episode 6. So, I guess what I'm getting at is,
it's
like,
been 7 episodes.
We know he's the danger.
That since RWBY was like, oh shit, that's Tyrion.
Yeah. So like, let's like, we understand that Tyrion is the danger in episode 6. Episode 7, we're aligning with Rob. It's just one of those deals where it's like, how many episodes did he need to be the danger for them to understand that there's no teaming up with him against your ally?
Exactly, because it's literally the type of thing where, like, episode 6 was when RWBY was like, oh shit, that's Tyrion. And the episode where everyone else learned about Tyrion was the same episode where Jock got exposed. So I believe that's episode 9?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That sounds right, because episode 8 is when we sat down at the table, but they were at the table for 2 episodes.
Yeah. So the concept of, like, episode 9 is when all of our main characters are aware that it's Watts and it's Tyrion, and Tyrion has been a wanted man who's committed dozens of murders.
let's team up against him. Like,
let's team up against the leader of Atlas's best military team.
It's one of those deals where it was hard to watch. Sometimes stories have down points, but they shouldn't feel like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I feel like that I've said everything that I need to say
Yeah,
for now.
we've probably been quite redundant.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you're emotionally volatile and raw.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for joining us. Hopefully we have more to look forward to next week in terms of a positive outcome for our protagonist.
yeah.
Overall, those fights were impressive to watch, but too much emotion tied in to enjoy the prettiness of the visual spectacle.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to the Ender's Game training arena for that.
So, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed our reaction, and I hope that we're not alone in being less than satisfied with it. And until next time, Megaton Menace signing out, and peace.